Obviously, I'm not going fishing today. Luckily, I had already planned on taking today off, got some chores to take care of, and it just so happens that we had some weather roll in last night, so it's pretty windy, totally cloudy, and probably not the best day to be fishing anyway. So, thought we'd do a quick question and answer. It's been a while since I've done one of those. So I'm gonna answer a few questions for you guys. And at the very end, I got a couple of questions that I wanna ask you. Ah. So hopefully the wind's not too bad. It's just howling out here, but I didn't want to sit in the trailer to do this because I just need to get outside for a bit. Anyway, I'm down here on the coast, obviously, and I've been getting a lot of questions about red fishing. So thought I'd answer a few of those. So first up is some people aren't aware of just basically how it works. So when you're on the skiff, there's a guide and at the most 2 fishermen. One person fishes out of the bow of the boat. The guide is in the poling platform in the rear of the boat looking for fish. So you'll have to take turns. One person fishes at a time. Usually people will do it on time, maybe 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. Some people will do it, you catch a fish, then I catch a fish. That's usually not a very good tactic because sometimes it may take a while for your buddy to get that first fish. And who knows, you may get one in the first 10 minutes that you're up front and then you're done. So I like to do it on time, but really it's just up to the clients. Sometimes if somebody's fishing with a kid or fishing with their wife and they really want the other angler to catch a fish, they may sit back and just watch the majority of the day. And that's fine, because it's whatever you want to do on your trip. Thanks for that question. I've had quite a few people ask me about blind casting on the skiff. And we will do it occasionally, especially if it's a cloudy day and we know there's fish around, but we can't see them. So we may just blind cast to some nervous water or, likely looking spots, points, and, coves and stuff like that. But typically we try to avoid blind casting if we can, because usually what is going to happen is as soon as you fire that cast out at 11 o'clock, make a nice long 60-foot cast, a redfish will pop up at 1 o'clock, 15 feet from the boat. And there's just no way to make a recovery fast enough to make the cast. So typically we stay on the hunt. We're just looking for the fish and we don't cast until we actually see one. Unless, of course, it's a day like today and you can't see anything. Thanks for that question. So another question we get a lot is, do you like a casting platform? Do you like a stripping basket? And they kind of go hand in hand. If you're on the platform, a lot of times your line is a lot more likely to end up off the deck just because you're a little bit higher and it's harder to keep it under control. So I kind of go back and forth. I have a nice big deck on the front of my boat, so it is nice to just stand on the deck. You can move around a little bit. There's room for 2 people to stand on the deck. It just looks better without the casting platform. Now, the advantages of the casting platform are just being able to see better. So if you don't mind standing on the platform, if you don't feel uneasy about the elevation and all that, you can definitely see fish better when you're a little bit higher. But you also spook the fish because you're a little bit higher. So there's always a trade-off. Now, when it comes to the stripping basket or the stripping bucket, on a day like today, if you were out there, you would definitely want one because it'd be almost impossible to keep your line on the deck of the boat. But what I usually tell people is you keep the line in the bucket while you're hunting for the fish. And when you see a fish and you make a cast and you start stripping, don't try to get it in the bucket. Just think about making the strips and keeping the fly moving and getting the fish's attention. You can always put the line back in the bucket before the next cast, but it sometimes is a real distraction trying to get the line back into the bucket while you're also trying to entice a fish into eating your fly. So forget about the bucket once you make the cast. We get this question in freshwater, but we get it a lot more in saltwater, and that is, can I keep a fish? Now, it really varies from guide to guide, and you should definitely ask your guide before the trip. Some guides are strictly catch and release only. Some guides are somewhere in the middle, catch and release only, and keep the fish. I don't mind if you keep a legal fish. We don't need to keep a limit of fish. And if you show up and you want to keep a fish, of course, ask me beforehand. You need to have your own cooler and your own fillet knife, because it's really hard to clean out these small coolers that are on the skiff, and I'm not going to clean your fish for you. All right. There's lots of great conventional tackle guides, and that's kind of part of their deal. You know, they go out, you get a limit of fish, they clean them and bag them up for you. But that's a totally different game from what we're doing. I would assume that your fly fishing guide is not going to want to keep fish. There are a few exceptions, but just ask first and then you won't have a problem. All right, thanks for that question. Okay, so I got 2 gear questions, and then we'll get to the questions that I got for you guys. One is, how does the jet drive do in the salt? It works okay. There's actually a company down here that's making a jet specific flat skiff, and they seem to have addressed some of the issues that I've had with the jet in the salt in the past. You know, number one being the grass. You know, jets really don't like grass, but we have grass in the river, and you know, it's just something you deal with. It's not a huge inconvenience unless the grass is really thick. The other thing is, I don't think the jet drive can get on plane in a shallow water as you can with the prop. Now, once you're on plane, the jet drive is going to run shallower than anything except, you know, maybe an airboat. The other trade-off with the jet drive in the salt is if there's chop, you're going to have a lot more problems with cavitation. If you have your jet set up nice and high, you know, where you want it, you know, so that it runs the way you want a jet to run, then you have issues with cavitation if there's a lot of chop. The final downside with the jet in the salt is, you know, we make some pretty long runs at times, and basically, say with the jet drive I have on my river skiff, I've got the fuel consumption and the weight of a 60 horse with the performance of a 40 horse. So that is a little bit of a trade-off if you're having to make long runs, you're burning a lot of gas, and you're definitely not going to be moving as fast as you would with the same engine with a prop. But like everything else in life, it's just a trade-off, and you got to decide whether that trade-off's worth it for you or not. All right, one more gear question. So I get this one all the time, and this is about my rod holder. I may have answered this in a previous question and answer video. I'll throw a link up there to some of these other question and answer videos. There's a lot of questions that have been answered, some of them more than once, but the rod holder comes up all the time. And what I have currently is an ancient version of the rod loft. I don't know if they even make that anymore, and mine doesn't even, it kind of looks like the original one. Now I've got, for the front section, I've got the loop strap. It's a bungee with loops in it. But I really do need to find something a little bit better. I'm gonna see if the rod loft is still in production and maybe replace that. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But anyway, that's what I got. It's just on its last legs, my rod holder. But I do like having the rods in the truck as opposed to, you know, in the boat or on top of the truck. So that's what I got for now. All right, so here's some questions that I have for you. Number one is, would you be interested in paying me monthly for a channel membership? I did launch channel memberships a little while ago, just like the bare minimum, you know, give me a few bucks a month to help me pay for making this content. You know, it is like having a second job, and, you know, I'm still a full-time guide, and making this content takes quite a bit of time as well. So if you are interested in the channel membership thing, let me know. Like I said, you can join right now. I think I got like a $3.50 a month membership right now, but I could make some more valuable membership levels and maybe create some additional content, have some other additional perks. If you guys are willing, let me know in the comments. Now, another thing that I would really like for everybody to do that's watching this video is sign up for my mailing list. You know, social media is where most of our content lives, but these platforms come and go. Remember MySpace? Yeah, maybe you don't, but it was a thing. And the thing about these social media channels is they own the content ultimately, and they own the connection. So if YouTube or Instagram goes away tomorrow, I have no way of reaching you. But if you sign up for my email list, I can keep track of you. You can keep track of me. I have people that have been on my email list since 2001. And that's a great thing because, you know, that was before most of these social media platforms were even in existence. And it's a great way for me to show you, you know, what I'm doing, where I'm going. Maybe I've got a trip, maybe I've got something that, you know, you may be interested in. I really don't send out emails very often, maybe once a month. I got up to once a week at one point in time, but I just couldn't keep up with it. I would like to be able to keep up with you in the future, so please sign up for my email list. Link is in the description. All right, last thing, this is kind of a fun one. I get people asking me all the time about the music in my videos. And unfortunately, the platform that I use doesn't really have a playlist function. I use Epidemic Sound. You can definitely go over there and check them out. I will leave a link in the description as well. If you would like to sign up for Epidemic Sound, if you use the link in the description, I think they give me some credit or whatever, but you can go and check it out. But pretty much everything I use is Epidemic Sound. It's great because they have a huge library of music that people like me can pay a monthly fee to use in my videos and not have to worry about getting any type of copyright strikes or stuff like that. Anyway, I got more stuff I need to take care of today. I want to thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you will give it a thumbs up. Hopefully you have subscribed to my channel. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. And in the meantime, good luck on the water.